Hello everyone, welcome to Max Modified, and this is episode 3 of the 190E to CLA45 chassis swap. Alright, here we are. Let's put these two things together. Alright, if you remember from last time, our body was not sitting properly on the chassis and it was also too low. I got a little carried away and looks like we needed to raise it up about 1.25 inches to make all the other parts fit. So we need to build this up. We also need to bring structure back into the chassis. If you remember, I cut a ton of the outer rocker panel out, and that's really what gives the chassis the rigidity front to back, side to side. So what we're gonna do is, this is a 2x4 14 gauge piece of steel. We're gonna put that in and create a new rocker. It should be plenty strong, but it should also allow all of our body work to fit, including the rocker covers. So let's take a look at that. All right, we're gonna go back in time first. So if you remember, we had this lip sitting here on the chassis, and that's what we were trying to set the body on. It was too low and it didn't sit flat. So what I've done is I've cut the lip off along with all of the structure. So lots of fun, tons of little spot welds. So now we've got a flat surface to weld the 2x4 onto. We also have this ledge here. So that's perfect because obviously it's straight and flat. So we're gonna take the 2x4 and it sits perfectly. We're gonna weld it there. And we're gonna weld it underneath. And that will become our new rocker panel. All right, let's break out the welder and we'll just tack this in and see how everything fits. All right, we got these tacked in. Let's drop the body on them and see how it looks. All right, that looks great. Let's take a closer look. All right, so here's what we've got from the inside. So this here is where we were sitting before. And remember, we needed to come up about 1.25 inches to deal with all the clearance issues up front. So using the 2x4 tubing, that brings us to here. And then as you can see, the body's resting on that. We'll have to squeeze it on there, but then we weld it on there and all 3 pieces welded together at the proper distance, and everything's straight and solid and structural. I'm also really happy with how the fitment ended up. I did a lot of measuring and it's all really tight, which is great. All right, time to weld on these rocker supports. So what I've done is I've drilled a bunch of holes through here and we'll do plug welds as well as butt welding from this piece to the rocker support as well as the bottom. So let's get to it. All right, next bit of fab, we're gonna add a 2x2 piece through here. It's gonna tie into our new rocker support. It's gonna tie into the chassis here. It's gonna tie into the chassis here. And then it's gonna tie into the body. Let's do it. All right, let's see what we got. I had to recess this for this bump right here. That's a big chassis stiffener. It's kind of on the inside. I'm not cutting that out. So this, go there. Plenty of places for it to get welded and strengthened. I'm probably gonna have to tie this in with another piece of metal. That's no big deal. I think it's looking good. Let's do the other side. All right, there we go. Time to weld. All right, well, as you can tell, the lumber is gone. The lift arms are all the way down because I just set the body on the chassis for the last time. This is a huge sigh of relief. As you can tell by my face, I just spent the past couple hours cleaning, grinding, getting off mill scale, lining everything up. I also cut a hole for the fuel cap because we know we're going to have to address that at some point. And now we're ready to weld the chassis and the body together. Let's do it. And now the chassis and body are definitely attached. All right, here she is, front end all welded up. Test fitting the door. Now let's see where the fender ends up being, because obviously we can't move the doors. So fender is based on where the door is. Let's give it a try. All right, now we've got the door and the fender on. It's lining up pretty good. Obviously, don't look at the cutout on that fender. It was just for clearance purposes, for fitment. Let's try the bumper. All right, now the door, the fender, and the Class 1 front bumper. Obviously, the bumper is nowhere near where it needs to be. I got a lot of stuff in the way, but that just kind of gives us an idea. It's a little higher than I'd like, but obviously I need to add a splitter, and I can just make that splitter thick, make it probably 1 inch thick, and that'll take up some of that ground clearance. So that's looking pretty good. Now, last but not least, I got the fender flares in. Let's take a look. All right, here are the fender flares from Ulterior Motive. They do beautiful work. These things are really nice. They do specific flares for JDM, Euro, domestic, but they also do custom work. These are custom flares. They're non-tapered, 3 inch with a 1/2 inch lip. So let's just kind of tape it on and see how this thing's going to start to come together. All right, and last but not least with the flares. Obviously I got these cut oversized. I'm going to be cutting all that off and then all that off if I use the Class 1 rocker covers. I'm not sure, but it's not going to look like this. Although the flare part, this will look the same. So that's pretty badass. Definitely going to need wider wheels. and definitely going to do a lot of work to make this all fit, but I think it's going to happen. All right, I think that's a good stopping point there. We've got the body welded to the chassis, at least up front. I've got a lot of welding to do. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. We did a very rough test fit of body parts, and things look good, so we're going to move forward. I'll see you guys soon. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Happy wrenching. Bye.